Hi, good evening, good evening. How you all doing?
Good evening. Fine.
All right, I'm gonna share one local video, and so can get a feel of what's already that talk about. Get my hand bun up, so me kind of that's why I'm late for class. So I'm gonna share the video right now.
From the tiniest particles to the largest galaxies,
You hear now everything, right?
Yeah, we're here.
the universe is everything. From the tiniest particles to the largest galaxies, to the very existence of space, time, and life. But how did it all begin? The origin of the universe is the origin of everything. Multiple scientific theories, plus creation myths from around the world, have tried to explain its mysterious genesis. However, the most widely accepted explanation is the Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory states that the universe began as a hot and infinitely dense point. Only a few millimeters wide, it was similar to a supercharged black hole. About 13.7 billion years ago, this tiny singularity violently exploded. And it is from this explosion, this bang, that all matter, energy, space, and time were created. What happened next were two major stages of the universe's evolution. Called the radiation and matter eras, they're defined by key events that helped shape the universe. First came the radiation era, named for the dominance of radiation right after the Big Bang. This era is made of smaller stages, called epochs, that occurred within the universe's first tens of thousands of years. The earliest is the Planck epoch. No matter existed in the universe at this time, only energy and the ancestor to the four forces of nature, the superforce. At the end of this stage, however, a key event occurred in which gravity split away from the superforce. Next came the Grand Unification epoch, named for the three remaining unified forces of nature. This epoch ended when one of those forces, called strong or strong nuclear, broke away. Then, the inflationary epoch began, during which the universe rapidly expanded. Almost instantly, it grew from the size of an atom to the size of a grapefruit. The universe at this time was piping hot, and it churned with electrons, quarks, and other particles. Then came the electroweak epoch, when the last two forces, electromagnetic and weak, finally split off. During the next stage, the quark epoch, all of the universe's ingredients were present. However, the universe was still too hot and dense for subatomic particles to form. Then, in the hadron epoch, the universe cooled down enough for quarks to bind together and form protons and neutrons. In the lepton and nuclear epochs, the radiation era's last two stages, the protons and neutrons underwent a significant change. They fused and created nuclei. and in doing so, they created the first chemical element in the universe, helium. The universe's new ability to form elements, the building blocks of matter, cued the matter era. Much as the name suggests, the matter era is defined by the presence and predominance of matter in the universe. It features 3 epochs that span billions of years, the vast majority of the universe's lifespan, and includes the present day. The first was the atomic epoch. In this stage, the universe's temperature cooled down enough for electrons to attach to nuclei for the first time. Called recombination, this process helped create the universe's second element, hydrogen. This hydrogen, along with helium atoms, dotted the universe with atomic clouds. Within the clouds, small pockets of gas may have had enough gravity to cause atoms to collect. These clusters of atoms, formed during the galactic epoch, became the seedlings of galaxies. Nestled inside those galaxies, stars began to form, and in doing so, they cued the latest and current stage of the universe's development, the stellar epoch. The formation of stars then caused a tremendous ripple effect and helped shape the universe as we know it. Heat within the stars caused the conversion of helium and hydrogen into almost all the remaining elements in the universe. In turn, those elements became the building blocks for planets, moons, life, everything we see today. This ecosystem of everything was only possible because of the many stages in the universe's development. While countless questions about the origins of our universe remain, it's only a matter of time for some long-sought answers to emerge.
That give any clarity to anything?
Yeah, man.
All right, I'm gonna send it in the group as well, so if you need to watch it again, you can.
Michael, you have another one can show in the meantime?
You want, yeah, man, we can put up a next one. Give me a few there.
people
You seeing this one?
Yeah.
on Earth at all? Or were there once distant ancestors of humans who lived so far in the past that they aren't even remembered by Hollywood? Well, while scientists have not yet invented a time machine, I suggest you take a look at the history of our planet with your own eyes. To begin with, let's go back to the past. 4,600,000,000 years ago, our Earth didn't exist yet. There was only a newly formed proto-sun and a ring of gas and dust. An incredibly beautiful sight, but we're interested in something a little different. Fast forward time a little bit ahead. 4,540,000,000 years ago, our planet was formed. Back then, it was about as far from inhabitable as possible. The conditions on Earth were really hellish. Instead of the usual landscapes, there was a sea of fire from molten rock. There were radioactive elements all around, and the surface temperature reached 4,700 degrees Celsius. That's about 8,500 degrees Fahrenheit. Instead of air, there was carbon dioxide, nitrogen, sulfur, and water vapor. Instead of solid land, magmatic oceans. Add to that the constant bombardment from large asteroids, and you get a picture that's more like the end of the Earth than its beginning. After several million years, as the result of a collision with a young planet called Theia, the moon was gradually formed. One day back then lasted about 6 hours. With such a short day, having time for anything would be simply impossible. It's good that the workday didn't exist yet. From about 4,100,000,000 years ago to 3,800,000,000 years ago, the late heavy bombardment hit the Earth, a huge number of asteroids. Some scientists suggest that at this time, there were already oceans on Earth, despite its high temperature. Honestly, I barely believe it, but who am I to argue with scientists? It was the asteroids that helped the planet gradually become covered with water. According to one theory, the asteroids carried with them a tiny amount of life-giving moisture and delivered it to Earth. That's how, over billions of years, about half of the water of the world ocean came to Earth from space. After the bombing ended, that is about 3,800,000,000 years ago, the temperature of the Earth began to slowly decline. But current life forms couldn't survive on the planet's surface anyway, because there was no oxygen in its atmosphere, and there was no ozone layer to block ultraviolet radiation. However, there are fossils which are about 3,500,000,000 years old, which means that life on Earth could have arisen much earlier than we used to think. From 3,200,000,000 to 2,800,000,000 years ago, almost the entire surface of the planet was occupied by a shallow ocean, the temperature of which ranged from 55 to 88 degrees Celsius, that's 131 to 190 Fahrenheit. However, microorganisms were already inhabiting this hot water. The land was only volcanic islands, which were slowly growing over time. Just imagine how hot it was. The days began to lengthen, and about 2,500,000,000 years ago, the first supercontinent, Kennerland, began to form. So let's fast forward a little. 1,500,000,000 years ago. Earth days now lasted at least 16 hours, though complex organisms still didn't exist. But lithospheric plates continued moving, and after 400,000,000 years created another supercontinent, Rodinia, and after some time, Pangaea. About 650,000,000 years ago, according to popular theory, our planet was a snowball. Literally. This theory is called Snowball Earth. Scientists assume that everything was completely covered with ice, and even the equator was as cold as modern Antarctica. It's scary to even think what the temperature was at the poles at this time. But even under a thick layer of ice, the planet maintained a fairly high temperature. No ice age can kill volcanoes, and the carbon dioxide from their eruptions, which accumulated in the atmosphere, gradually melted the glaciers. This melting released a huge amount of oxygen, which forever changed the planet. About 541 million years ago, the Cambrian explosion occurred. Temperatures rising to 30 degrees Celsius or 86 Fahrenheit, and a record concentration of oxygen caused a huge number of living organisms to emerge. The biological diversity was so impressive that some creatures even developed exoskeletons to protect themselves from being eaten by others. Researchers believe that almost all of the existing types of animals appeared during this period. The length of the day now reached 22 hours. 450 million years ago, plants and arthropods began to actively conquer the land. 419 million years ago, the first insects appeared. About 300 million years ago, most of our planet was occupied by swamps. Many scientists, such as Professor Frederick Rich, hold this view. But the swamps of antiquity were not like modern ones. Some plants reached 30 meters in height, that's about 100 feet, and giant insects flew everywhere. This was thanks to the high oxygen concentration. Be glad that our modern dragonfly's huge ancestors didn't survive to this day. Seriously, that wouldn't be the most pleasant replacement for pigeons. 252 million years ago, the Permian-Triassic extinction event took place, destroying 96% of marine species and 73% of terrestrial vertebrate species. Most likely, numerous eruptions became the cause of extinction. The air was filled with ash and carbon dioxide. There was little sunlight, plus lava was flowing everywhere. Anyone could die in this environment. Dinosaurs then arrived to replace the destroyed species. But not only did huge dinosaurs divide the planet among themselves, the continents also moved. About 175 million years ago, Pangaea began breaking up. The Atlantic and other oceans appeared, and the world began taking on its current form that we see today. At this time, you could find the first pine trees, praying mantises, and bees. 50 million years ago, the power over the planet was then passed on to mammals. Without dinosaurs, they began feeling freedom, actively spreading around the planet and evolving with all their might. Meanwhile, the length of the day had reached almost 24 hours, and the temperature stably remained near the 24 degrees Celsius mark. That's about 75 Fahrenheit. About 8 to 4 million years ago, according to scientists, an important split occurred. The ancestors of modern apes began separating from our ancestors, each heading down their own evolutionary path. About 4 million years ago, the climate on the planet once again changed. Of course, this didn't happen right away, but it was the climate that turned part of the dense forest into the savanna. According to one theory, this is what made our distant ancestors climb down from the trees, stand up straight, and start looking for food. They were not the only particular species that began fighting for survival. Many tried to adapt to the changes. But in the end, only humans succeeded to the degree that they went on to invent tools, the wheel, and Netflix. 1,400,000 years ago, Homo Erectus began to colonize Eurasia. 790,000 years ago, they already knew how to use fire. What the population of the Earth was exactly during this period is rather difficult to calculate. You know, the population census at that time wasn't very good. And then, about 300,000 years ago, Homo sapiens appeared, the reasoning human. They appeared and began to populate the entire Earth so actively that they still can't stop. If about 130,000 years ago, The number of our ancestors ranged from between 100 to 300,000 individuals. Then already 40,000 years ago, the expansion of reasoning human beings covered almost the entire planet. Today, the world's population is 7,800,000,000 people and continues to grow. However, the planet is changing along with its people, so who knows what turn of history awaits us in the future. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and click on the bell to receive notifications of new interesting videos that are waiting for you ahead. Until next time.
Over the last 30
Anybody know if sir is coming to class?
No, sir, now go reaching because at 10 to 5 and them have a speaking engagement at 6.
Oh, you say you won't be here?
No, remember him did have class from 5 to 6, you know. But him say if him not get a chance for just read the documents and thing, because I'm going actually speak at 6 o'clock, so he won't be able to check in at all. But quick question, from the 2 videos, them what you notice?
To me, the second one kind of different from the first one.
Yeah, different in the sense it show evolution, but
about the ice pop, because I didn't know about that. For the earth, it's full of ice, and the temperature is still.
yeah, that's true. But from last class, 2 things where we discuss, it actually floating in both videos.
We are talking about the catastrophism.
Yeah, and uniformism, uniformitarianism, where you have one where a lot of violent activities occurred. Now the second video, you realize it talk about the meteorite bombardment and all of that.
Volcanoes.
Yeah. While in the first video, it tell you about a gradual expansion of the universe, molecules being merged together and everything happening over a period of time. Yeah.
Anybody have anything they want to add?
Yeah, please add Venica, Asia, Alexia, Paz, Leonie, Davia, Daniela, Karel.
Everybody asleep.
We literally have 7 more minutes. So just people. Yeah, one can.
No hungry.
Looks.
Yep.
So Paz, they say you not come Friday because you not get the day off.
Yeah, man, I'll make it for Friday.
So you send in your form and you tell sir?
Yeah, man, I send it in already.
So Daniel alone has staff.
All right, so I'm gonna send the first video in the group, and as you read through the document, because the document mirrors the first video exactly. basically identically. So we talk about the different epochs, different stages, what happened, and the breakaways, all of that is in the document and is in the first video. So I'm gonna send it in the group in about 20 minutes time. No, not next 10 minutes. And you can just use it as a guide when you go through the document.
Yeah.
10 pieces, okay then.
You know about 10 pieces? I'm trying to bring the money Friday.
How long the journey?
Wrong somebody ask Michael.
I think it will take like about 2 hours to get to Trelawney.
15 minutes to
Now
take
cross Flatbridge.
15 minutes to take, man. I'm afraid of Flatbridge.
Me.
We'll make sure so we drive Flatbridge.
No, take the toll.
You have to about take 12?
They could go Flatbridge.
Yes.
I'll drive over Flatbridge and then we'll go up on the toll. I'll go up on the toll at Linston. Just to cross Flatbridge.
So what time for
Anyway,
it?
when I think we'll go drive north south, that longer.
The one that go straight to Montego Bay?
Yeah, that longer. So that's shorter, in my opinion. If we go to Clarendon and then go over in a Stewart Town, so. Or even if we drive go Spaldings and go down in Trelawney, it's even shorter than to go north south.
So what time for it at school?
Early.
Like what time?
Exactly.
Same time you didn't reach when they did go for the other field trip.
What time was that?
Remember that?
I think we're supposed to leave the school at least by 8 o'clock, but we're supposed to reach before.
Okay, no.
We're supposed to reach before 7?
We are leave school by 7:30 the latest.
And we'll leave school by 8.
No, we are leave school by 7:30 the latest.
By what time?
7:30 the latest.
Sir, say more by 8 o'clock.
Because me think me did hear sir say you wanna give time for the persons who might be late. So we might leave around 8 o'clock.
Try reach a school before 7 o'clock.
You want to come back early and reach a school early.
Hello, I want if I walk in the sun, you know. So earlier better.
What if I talk about the sun and talk about the drive?
Okay.
I don't know that one in place. I don't want a night I catch me down in place there.
So what, if we reach little over 7, that not go penalize we?
From your reach from the bus, you're good, you know. If the bus left you, then that's the problem.
So what will carry the food then?
Asia.
Yeah. Girl.
Yeah, walk with food.
I just make sure separate my food from food on, and I remember say it's 10 pieces I want. Okay.
Walk with the food or walk with the water, please.
Walk with some juice too.
Yeah. Somebody just make some sandwich. Somebody carry it.
I done man geology class in a EIA. I think easy. Something there. Question. Anybody had gather data outside or we are going to go on the field trip and gather?
Yeah.
What kind of data you start gather?
The climate, me see so far.
Climate?
Yeah, like the rainfall, the humidity, the precipitation, dew point, and then something like
All right.
On the archaeological sites or them some of them. You have to go search.
It might not note it, but when you go in at the district, you can ask some old people and they will tell you whether or not any historical site about the place. Anybody look on the geology of the area?
What do you mean?
The rock formation, rock type, all of that.
No, I have to go look on that.
Michael, you go create the questionnaire. Why should I create the questionnaire?
You're more familiarized with it than us.
Yeah, what I create no questionnaire now. So why not ask me to create a questionnaire today when I trip on Friday? You want to beat me, you know? Anyway, the questionnaire do already. Sir, have it. You might go through it to say you're gonna change his name.
But you do it from now.
No, the questionnaire do already.
You do it already?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's something I forgot print from before we go. And sample size I work out now.
Okay. The class is dismissed.
You could even wait.
1 minute gone over.
1 minute past 6. Yeah, we can dismiss now if there is nothing else that we want to discuss pertaining to geology and not EIA.
Probably something in could read. So. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, so we can chat in other group, so later.
Yeah, sooner or later.
All right. Sign out, guys. Veronica, you not sign out? David, you not sign out?
What was that?
You not sign out? Veronica, why is you silent this evening?
I type up some documents. What go on for the questionnaire?
All right. Me do it already. Sir have it. I'm going to go vet it and then tomorrow make you know. But it
So
basically
if you
done.
can send before, because if you can send before, we could have print them.
I have to print something. Oh, so I'm going to talk to sir tonight and then hear what him say. So if him say it good, we make it, we send it to you, make you print it.
How much are we? About 20?
20 hours, but more than that. I work out the sample size. Me and him actually I work out the sample size.
Well, when I know I'll just tell me before 5 o'clock in case I'm not stay back home. You could have just
before 5 o'clock tomorrow?
Yeah.
I call it early tomorrow, man.
So I could have just print them and put them in an envelope. If I want to come pick them up, you could have picked them up.
You no plan to come?
I need gloves and them somewhere. I wouldn't need nothing.
No, you don't need no gloves. Well, you definitely gonna need a water or refreshment.
I can't afford it, you know.
Yeah, so water, look at juice or them sort of stuff.
Also, everybody that bring them stuff.
Yeah. Most important thing for work with that one cap, your clipboard and pencils for the questionnaire.
We're talking about clipboard. I'm supposed to have 2 clipboard in a back and leave catching on bag.
Walk with them.
I'm walking everything. Just remind me tomorrow. Supposed to have 2 at the next house. I'm gonna see again. At 7 o'clock we reach at school. I start to discuss them tomorrow.
Well, him did I say we have to leave early, but he might give persons chances to reach. So by latest 6, 7:30 we will leave. But they must say 8 o'clock.
I'm trying to crop out that piece of map the way I'm saying print it.
Yeah, walk with the map as well. There's 4 map, I think I have 4 group or something like that, so that's print 4. But actually I get the ED map them from starting, so that can use in the project later on. So you don't have to worry about that one there.
Oh, but the one where I'm saying where himself for crap out, that may go do. Mahogany we look for crap it out?
Something like, yeah, mahogany, something like that.
Well, tomorrow I can ask her. I'm going to probably just stay back and ask him what can he just scrap it out and send it to him and he tell me it's good to print. Let's print them.
Yeah, man, that can work.
You know, so
we do most of the heavy lifting already, so we're supposed to just come relax and do the working.
How much your business?
I may have the population book them as well, so if you don't need them, I can send them the electronic copy.
Yeah, could send us when you're going to need it. So you just send me. If anything, we'll print one.
Or we just send the part where, because it's confusing if you don't know what you look for. So me send
we'll just send what we can understand.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Alright, I'll probably make sandwich. I'm not promising nothing. I'm probably going tired and deadly. But alright. Let's see.
Make sandwich. I'm looking forward to them.
Me? Let me see what that goes. I'm carrying wake up. Alright. Alrighty, so human resource class, I'll hear from you.
Yeah, man.